So welcome everyone. My name is Jan Lehman. I'm the owner of CTC Productivity. And with me today are my wonderful colleagues, Nancy Kreschke, who's doing the session today, and then Arnie House. Arnie is newer to our team and just had knee surgery. So Arnie is heavily medicated right now, so he may or may not talk, depending on his pain threshold, but he's on the call with us too. So we're super happy you're here. If you're new to our sessions, we've been doing this for about 1.5 years, talking about the benefits, the productivity benefits of leveraging Microsoft 365. The way we run the sessions, we do a 20-minute deep dive on a topic, and then we open it up for Q&A. So as we're going along, feel free to ask questions in the chat, that's fine, and then we'll open it up when we get to the Q&A part. If you are interested in the past webinars that we've done, Nancy's going to enter a bunch of links in the chat. You can go back and go to our website and look at all the past webinars that we've done on the different apps. You can register for our newsletter, which will give you a heads up when we have a new webinar coming out. And then she's also going to enter the link for next month's webinar. So today we're actually going to do Microsoft 365 productivity hacks, specifically around the Outlook tool. And then next month, we're actually going to do, we call it Microsoft 365 in case of emergency. Sadly, some of you know we lost a team member in July. And that was devastating in so many different ways, mostly emotionally. But it was also a wake-up call to, wow, how do you set up your environment and protect yourself when you run the risk of, losing someone in your team? So we're going to do that topic to help you understand how 365 and other tools might be able to help you as well. And before we get started, Nancy, did you enter all the chat and stuff in? I don't have my chat up, I guess. Let me pull it up. You entered all the links?
I entered it once, but there's been a lot of people joined after I entered it. So
okay, go ahead and enter again then. So yep. And a lot of people always ask, will the recording be available? It should be, it's out on the website. I think it's sent out to anybody that attended the session as well, if I remember correctly. So okay, I'm going to do just a little bit of background, give a little context to why we started this conversation. I do a lot of one-on-one coaching. It's my main function on our team. And through those coaching conversations, a lot of clients have said, man, like 10 years ago, I used to be in control. I don't know what is going on. And there's a lot that's really changing in the world. One, our information is doubling about every 12 to 18 months. It's kind of a crazy world. But also our work environment is really shifting. And so we're going to talk about, there's a study from Deloitte Consulting that talks about how we're moving, Nance, can you advance? So thank you. We're going from a traditional organizational structure into more of a social enterprise. So what that means is we used to be very independent workers, working really just within our own little silos. Technology has allowed us to really solve a lot of those, kind of repetitive tasks. So we can now step forward and work on much more complex issues, which typically means working with other people in other functional areas. So on that bottom axis, the x-axis, you see we're going from being kind of functionally siloed to working in a network of teams. And that's really what the Microsoft 365 suite is providing this communication and collaboration hub for teams to work together. The same thing is happening on the y-axis, that companies are really looking outside of the four walls of their business and saying, hey, what issues and challenges can we solve more broadly? It is not uncommon that Nancy and Arnie and I are doing training for our customer, and they have a supplier, vendor, or customer in the room to help look at, again, how do we streamline and improve productivity outside of even the four walls of the business? So lots of great opportunity out there. So these are the typical organizational challenges, our typical business issues we're hearing our clients talk about when going into this team environment. And if you think about it, it makes sense. When you're working independently, you can put all your documents out in your own network drive. But when you work into a team environment, now it's like, okay, where do I put documents so everybody can access them, update them? So organization is an issue and a challenge. Communication, collaboration, death by meetings. We're seeing a lot of clients struggling with accountability, especially in this hybrid remote world, and the need for better prioritization. So these are really the challenges that we're seeing. Our personal philosophy, as much as we love technology, is you don't roll out technology just for the sake of rolling it out. You really think about, what are my issues? What are the business issues I need to solve. And if technology can actually help solve that, then you bring technology in. That's our philosophy. So, but we think 365 has some amazing tools to really solve a lot of these business issues. One last thing in the this hybrid work world, we're seeing that about 50% of the workforce really do want a hybrid work solution. A quarter of them want is work from home permanently, and then the other quarter really want to be in the office full time. So again, super lucky to be on Microsoft 365, which affords us the opportunity to be able to work productively, even in a hybrid and remote work environment. So that's great. There's a lot of statistics out there about the benefits of 365. Nancy and Arnie and I have yet to get anybody on to 365, to get a company on to 365 that hasn't been thrilled. The only companies that I've run into that are not happy with it are the ones really trying to figure it out on their own, and you can kind of make a mess. So there's some low-lying fruit, some simple apps you can install on your own, and you can't get into too much trouble. But the core of 365 and the Teams environment and all that, you want to definitely make sure you know what you're doing, go slow and pilot it. So, but lots of great statistics out there that we are seeing proven in the clients that we're working with as well. So, and on that note, I think I'm turning it over to Nancy.
All right, thank you. So as Jan mentioned, to end the year 2021 webinars, we wanted to share some of our favorite Microsoft 365 productivity hacks. And we're going to focus around Outlook. We believe the technology should be utilized to help you save time by completing some of those routine tasks in less time. And so we're going to focus on the Outlook desktop app too. I do want to mention that this is the desktop app. Many of the hacks that we show you can be done in the online app. A few of them can't. And I don't know if off the top of my head, as I go through here, I can tell you which ones can't be done online, because I don't play out there in that environment very often. So let's get started with hack number 1. Have you ever sent an email to a dozen coworkers but only needed an answer from 1 or 2 of them? So you might have used text effects like bold or underline or bright font colors to highlight their names. So you might not be familiar with this hack, which is using the at mention in there to draw attention to somebody. So the first thing is when you don't even have to put anything in the to line. You can go right to the body of the message. And if you use the at symbol, and then their name will pop up, and you click on that and Jan will pop in there. And she is going to not only show up down here, but she's going to go right in the to line. So anybody that you at mention will automatically be added to the to line. So you don't have to type her name twice. So that is kind of a cool thing there. The second part of at mentions is that it's going to highlight Jan's name in the body of the message. So if this message was to 5 or 6 people and Jan is the only one that I wanted to spotlight, her name is automatically going to be highlighted in blue, as that's the color font that it put down here by default. And so you don't have to do any of those highlights. The third really cool thing with this particular hack that a lot of people don't know is that in the inbox, you do have to have the at or the mention column showing. And then if the email is squished and your email inbox looks like this view, there'll be a little at symbol there. So that also lets them know, hey, you have been at mentioned. That probably means that I need to do something, or in this case, Jan would need to do something if this came into her inbox. And so that's an email message that she might want to read sooner than some of the other ones because there's something for her to do. So it'll show here as well as it's going to show here. And if your email box, your inbox, instead of being a squished view like this, is a stretched view showing all your column headers, that's where I mentioned that you do want to have that mention column showing just like your received or your subject. And then the little at symbol is going to show up in that mention column. So just a reminder that people are not going to see it if they don't have that piece turned on. All right.
Hey, Nancy, can I make a comment on that? I just love that hack. And one of the things that Nancy and Arnie and I see a lot is people don't know the basic principles anymore of like the etiquette on email. And so historically we used to put, you know, in the to field, who the action item or the person to take action, and then the CC is who is an FYI. And people don't do that. And quite honestly, I've kind of given up, because when you're doing email responses on a mobile device, it's kind of hard to move things around. So this is like, to me, the modern day version of the to field, like the person that needs to take action, you got to get attention. So that's an awesome hack.
Great. Thanks, Jan.
Mhm.
All right. Hack number 2. Have you ever been included in an email conversation that really doesn't apply to you? You delete the message, but all the future messages, they just keep coming in your inbox and wasting your time. So you can keep these unwanted conversations out of your inbox with hack number 2, which is ignore conversation. So this is available in your ribbon. So it's in the home menu and it's ignore. And when you go ahead and you click on ignore, it pops up and it says, do you want to ignore it, or do you want to add it to the junk or delete? That's what's in this up here. So you can also right click on the message and that same menu pops up to ignore. So when you go ahead and you click ignore, a window is going to pop up. And it's going to say, hey, ignore the conversation. Now, if you click this box right here that says, don't show this message again, meaning this big box that I'm showing you here that says ignore conversation on it, the next time that you just click on ignore, you're not going to see this box. So just remember that the first time you click on ignore a conversation, the box is going to come up. If you say, don't show me this message again, just do what I tell you to do, ignore the conversation. The box won't come back up. Now, where do those get sent? All future messages go into your trash. So it's not like you don't get them. They just go into your trash. And rather than you having to delete them individually going, I don't care what they're talking about, I don't care what they're talking about, this is going to take care of sending those out of your inbox into the trash on your own. Let's say the conversation, which is based on the subject, changes, and now you need to be paying attention to that conversation. You can always go into your trash, find one of the messages in the conversation, right click on it, just like we had done before, or go up here in your box, in a box, and you will see stop ignoring conversation. When you click on ignore, it'll stop ignoring the conversation. Again, if you put a check mark here, the next time you go into your trash and you want to stop ignoring a conversation, you won't see this particular window pop up anymore. So you can always start bringing those conversations back into your inbox if maybe you inadvertently ignored the conversation. I've had some of my clients, when I show them this, especially in big corporations, they're like, oh man, I'm doing this for every message that I get from Joe. But what they forget is that it's not based on from Joe, it's based on, the conversation is based on the subject. So we do kind of chuckle about it. And this is one of the features that I have found, and I think Arnie has also found, that is one of the least used features inside of Outlook, is this ignore conversation. People just continue to delete the messages as they come in, and they're like, ah, I wish they would take my name off of this string, but they didn't. So you can do it for them. Hack number 3. Do you send multiple email messages to your team and add each email address to every message? Or do you file messages in the same folder multiple times a day and spend time searching for that folder? You can combine multiple actions into one click, or what Microsoft calls a quick step. So for those of you who have ever done macros, and typically I see macros done inside of Excel, that is what this is. You're creating a macro that is doing multiple steps at once. So in your ribbon in Outlook, you have a section, a group up here called quick steps. And these are some of the default quick steps that are in there for you. So the team email, if you're in a company and it has the organization set up properly in the back end of Microsoft, your team is already populated. And when you would go ahead and click on this team email for the first time, and I didn't bring that screenshot in here, I apologize. But that team email would be populated with all of your team members for that project or the department or the group that you're in. And then you would say, yep, that's who my team members are. The next time you would click on it, it is going to create an email message with all your team members' names already there. So it's one click to add 5 or 6 or 7 team members, rather than I do a new message and I have to add either a distribution group, or I have to add my 5 or 6 team members, and oops, I forgot somebody this time. Now I have to forward the message to Bob because he got missed. So Quick Steps is great for that. You can set your own quick steps and create whatever you want. So when you click on this little hashtag right here, you'll get an option that says a new quick step or manage quick steps. And even if you clicked on create new, it's going to pop out this little list over here that says, here's kind of the main ones that people use all the time. Move to folder, flag, a new email to, forward to somebody, schedule a new meeting, or custom. So I'm going to show you what the custom one. When I click on custom, I'm editing the quick step, whether it's a new one or whether it's existing one. And so first you can go ahead and name your quick step, and then you can add multiple actions in here. That's where this whole macro and doing multiple things at once. So here is the laundry list of all the different actions that are available. One of the ones, I don't know about you, but I am a little nutty about, if a message is filed, I want to make sure that it's marked as on read. So if I was going to create a quick step that said, hey, when an email comes in, I'm going to mark it as on read, and then I'm going to move it to a certain folder, those would be 2 steps I would put on that quick step. You could also categorize it or flag it. And you can put as many, I don't know if there's a limitation, to tell you the truth or not. I think what I'm seeing most of my clients is somewhere between 2 to 4 of these different actions with 1 step. So what might that look like? So mark as read and file. So I added the action, mark the message as read, and then I chose move to folder. And I just put it in a generic folder called Save This Message. Gets it out of my inbox and moves it over into the Save folder. Also, if for some reason there were any flags on that message, I did add one other action that says clear the flags on the message before or as it moves. So it's going to mark it as unread, it's going to move it to the Save folder, and if there was a flag on it, it's going to remove that at the same time. And so once you save the quick step, you will see that in the ribbon. And that is, I'll show you that in a second. I think that's one more slide down. But here's another example of, I wanted to create a quick step to forward a message to Kelly to say, Kelly, I want you to go ahead and I want you to schedule an appointment. So it says, hi, Kelly, please schedule an appointment as needed with whoever this person had sent me the email. And so you also have the option right here when you say forward, anytime you're going to put a person in here, you can create a default message. And this usually says options, but I clicked on options and expanded it, and I can put a subject in here. I can flag it if I want, I can give it an importance, and then I can type text. You can also have it not send right away, but hang on to it in your outbox for 1 minute. So just in case you decided, oh my gosh, I didn't really mean to send that one and forward it to Kelly, you can go and snag it out of your outbox. With this text, the one thing I always like to point out to clients is that this is only plain text. So you can't do any fun formatting. You can't put any hyperlinks in this. That would be a different type of an Outlook template that you would want to use that would have those kinds of things in it, or utilizing quick parts, which we will talk about. Most likely, Arnie and I have been brainstorming for some future hack sessions on Office hacks with Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. So we'll come back to quick parts with that. And then this is what it looks like when it goes ahead. As soon as I save that mark as read and file, it went ahead and added it to my quick steps option here. This bar here with how many are showing. So right now you'll see there's 6 quick steps there. As you add more, this may expand. 3 up is as many as it does. But if you have room in your ribbon, it is going to stretch this out. So if I had a 5th or 7th one here, I would see another column there. If I do not have any room in my ribbon, either my monitor is too small or I have too many other icons in my ribbon, it may squish it down and I only see the first one. That's why you want to use this little arrow right here that'll scroll through all of the quick steps that you have set up. Another thing that you can do with quick steps, and let's see if I had it back here on this one. Nope, I chopped it off. When you're here, it's right here. I know this is a little bit small here, but when you are creating that quick step, you can create a shortcut key. You can only do that for 9 quick steps because it is, I believe, Control 1, Control 2, Control 3, up to the number 9. And so that can be nice too. You don't even have to grab your mouse and go up to the quick step box up here. Let me get to that page right here. You don't have to come up here and click on it. You can just use your shortcut keys to go ahead and have it process and apply that quick step to your email message.
Hey, Nan's quick comment. We love quick steps from a productivity standpoint, because anytime you do have a time-consuming repetitive task, you absolutely want to take the time to figure out how to automate it. So if you're doing something over and over and over, figure out how to automate. Quick Steps is a fabulous tool for that. If you can't automate and you're in a position to delegate, then that's your next best option. But Quick Steps rocks.
Well, and you mentioned delegating. Quick Steps is great for delegation because you can forward a message. So Paul, let's say you get a message and you're like, hold it, I don't take care of that on my team. I'm going to send that over to Jose. You can go ahead and create that quick step that automatically forwards that message to Jose. And then you can type a standard message there. Hey, Jose, this came to me, but it's really something you take care of. And in one click, it's just taken care of for you and you can get it out of your inbox. So it's great for delegating as well. All right, hack number 4. Have you ever wanted to turn an email message into a meeting or a task? So you can easily do this with a drag and drop. This will create a separate item and the email can be deleted from your inbox. And isn't that, I always think that's the happiest part of my day is deleting email from my inbox. So, all right, so it is just, so anytime we talk about drag and drop, it's click, right? So I'm going to click on the email message, I'm going to hold it, and I'm going to drag it down here to my calendar. And this is one, as Arnie and I were talking about this, creating this, that he's like, I am so surprised when I work with my clients of how many people just don't even know they can take an email message and drag it to their calendar or drag it to their taskbar or even drag it to people. So if I drug this down to people, it's going to go ahead and open up a new contact and add that contact to my address book, which is kind of cool. So let's walk through what happens when you drag that email down to your calendar. It then goes ahead and it opens a new appointment window. Now, I say appointment, and I want to point that out because it is an appointment with yourself, okay? If you do need to change it to a meeting, you'll want to go ahead and you'll want to change it to a meeting, invite attendees, changes it to a meeting, or if you want a Teams meeting, you click on that, will then allow you to invite attendees. But otherwise, it is scheduling an appointment with yourself on your calendar. By default, it pulls in the current date. So I did this yesterday. So it pulls in the current date and then it pulls in the next half hour. So I did this before 6 a.m. yesterday, created the screenshot because that's the next half hour is 6 o'clock. And so that's what it defaulted to. And it brings anything. So it says schedule service call. So it's like, oh, I need to call this person and I need to schedule that service call with them. And I'm going to put it on my calendar at 6 a.m. Or I could go ahead and I could pick. If I clicked on the calendar here, I can choose my date, I can choose my time, and I can change that. So you have the option to go ahead and edit all of the information that shows up on that new appointment window. If you right click, and this was one that I didn't know, and Arnie opened my eyes here and I was like, wow, that is really cool. Instead of just click, hold, and drag to your calendar, if I right click on the message and drag it to my calendar, Then I get this menu that pops up and it says, hey, do you want to copy here as an appointment? Where when I just dragged it, I showed you, it only pulled it up as an appointment. And I'm like, oh, now I have to change it. Do I want to put it as a, with a shortcut or with the attachment, move here? So now I'm not just going to copy it, I'm going to move it. Wow, I'm going to get it right out of my inbox and put it right on my calendar with any attachments in there. Or do I want to copy it there as a meeting request? So right away, it's going to allow me to add people to it. And I just thought that was cool because one of the things, if the email did have an attachment on it, when you do the click, hold, drag and drop, instead of the right click, hold, drag and drop, you don't get the attachments with just the drag and drop. And so I thought this was great that when you right click on it, it says, hey, put the attachments in my calendar also. When we take that and we drag the email to our task list, so this again is a right click and drag to your task list, it opens the menu that says, am I going to copy it here? Am I going to copy it with just the words, with the attachment, or am I actually going to move it here, get it out of my inbox and move it right over to my task list? So those are that right click and drag to your calendar and email or tasks, excuse me. I thought those were really cool.
Nancy, you made a lot of people happy with that hack. There's a lot of fun comments in chat. Yeah.
I see Arnie's comment. I believe it just gave everyone a half hour.
Oh no, the half hour. They were asking,
oh.
does it just default to the next half hour, or does it look at your next available time? And Arnie said, I believe it goes to the next half hour. That was a question.
Yeah, it's always only that next half hour.
Okay.
All right. So hack number 5. So has your company started using Microsoft Teams for conversations, but some of your coworkers, they're still sending you email messages? You can easily move that email from Outlook to Teams with only a few clicks. So again, we're in our inbox and we're looking at our messages. In the ribbon, hopefully you see an item that says Share to Teams. If you don't see it there, it is an add-on and it might be turned off. You may have to go to your IT department and say, hey, I am not seeing Share to Teams in my ribbon. And can you help me get it there so that I can send email messages right over to Teams? But it is going to take that message and it is going to move that over into Teams. When I click on Share to Teams, I get a pop-up window and it says, hey, okay, where do I want this to go? You can type the name of a person because not only can it go into a team and a channel, but it can also go in a chat. So if Jan and I were having a chat and I wanted to remind Jan, hey, this really should have been over in chat, I can send our email over into chat. And the next time she goes to our chat, she'll go, oh yeah, that's right. I was supposed to send that in the chat and not an email. So you can put a person's name in here. You can put a group in here, or you can put a specific channel in here. It will list some of the recent channels that you were in, and you'll just be able to go ahead and click on it there. And then it took this whole message that I had typed up and it is getting ready to send it over. If it does have an attachment on it, if you put a check mark there, it will also send the email attachment over into that Teams chat or that team channel post. And then you're just going to go ahead and click down here on the right where it says share. When you pop over into Teams, you're going to see that email message is listed here. So I just put this in the general channel of this team. And so here it is in the post, and that's what the email message is going to look like. If there's more, if it doesn't show all the words, the 3 dots actually, when you click on them, will go ahead and say, open the message in a new window. And so it'll open the whole message in a new window. So if you don't want to scroll through it, you can get to it that way. So the email is now included in the channel or the chat and can be replied to in here just like all the rest of the posts. Hack number 6. Have you ever wanted to quickly go back and forth between your inbox and your calendar or view them side by side? This, if you do not know this hack, oh my goodness, it's going to, hopefully you're going to go, wow. So if we are in our inbox again, and down at the bottom, you have your icon showing this way, you're gonna go ahead and right click on the calendar. So make sure you right click and don't click on it, because if you click on it, it just switches from your email, your inbox, to your calendar. That's not what we want to do. We want to right click, and then we want to click on open in a new window. Now, if your inbox is showing with all the words and it hasn't been minimized to just icons here, then you're going to right click on the word calendar and then open in a new. And so this is going to give you the ability. I'll go ahead and I'll play this little video here. I right click, click open in a new window. Now I have both of them. And then I was able to quickly split the screen. And that was done with my Windows icon and my right arrow to shove my calendar to the right. And when it did that, we'll show this again. So when I clicked on the Windows icon and the right arrow to shove my calendar to the right, it says, hey, here's all the other windows that you have open. What do you want to see on the left-hand side of your screen? And so I chose my email. So now I can quickly see my email on one of my monitor and my calendar on my other side of the monitor. If you have two monitors, you can go ahead and put email on one and calendar on the other, so you can see them side by side that way as well. And you can do this with any of them. So, you know, if you wanted to have your task list open, you would right click on the task list, click open in a new window, and then you would have your task list open. For those of you that are using the Microsoft To Do app, you don't need to have your task list open because the To Do app is a separate app that you can have on your computer. Okay, so let me get to the next one. So bonus hack is some other Outlook keyboard shortcuts in regards to what I was just doing. If you're like, you know what, I don't know that I necessarily need my mail and my calendar open all the time, but boy, it does kind of become a pain that I have to use my mouse and click from the email, from the mail icon to the calendar icon to the people icon, so on and so forth. I just want to switch between them quickly. So if you do Control key plus the number 1, 2, 3, or 4, it is going to open that particular module. It's not going to have two modules open at once. It is only going to still have one module open, but it will quickly switch from viewing your mail to viewing your calendar if you hit Control plus the 2, the number 2, if you like keyboard shortcuts. I was going to put the whole shortcut path in here, but true Microsoft fashion is that after I got to supportmicrosoft.com, the link was a little kind of messy. And so, you know, if you go to supportmicrosoft.com and you type search for keyboard shortcuts in mail and calendar, that is what the document was called. And then it had a whole bunch of letters and numbers past it. And so, you know, it'll pop up, and there was, I think, as I scrolled 5 or 6 pages, just Microsoft keyboard shortcuts in general. If you ever do a search for that, just a Google or a Bing search, you'll just be amazed at how many are there. So, but I can tell you that having my calendar open all the time and my email and my calendar side by side has just saved me tons of time. Now, we have given you 6. Well, with bonus, you got 7 bonus or 7 hacks. And it's overwhelming because you're like, I want to try them all. So here's what I have personally experienced and what I tell my clients. And I think that Arnie and Jan probably agree, is that you don't have to try all 7 hacks at once. Pick one. Pick one of the ones that you're like, oh my gosh, this is my favorite, I love it. And try that out for a month. And why do I say a month? Because studies show that 28 to 30 days is when we build a habit. So if we do that hack over and over and over for a month, then it'll probably be a habit, and you don't need to go, what did she tell me to do? Where's that? How do I get in there again? It'll just automatically be a habit because you have been doing it over. And then go ahead and add another hack on top of it. The other thing I do, and I have some of my colleagues that disagree with me, is that I do like my little tiny Post-it notes. And so when I am learning something new, typically they're keyboard commands, I put the keyboard command on here, and I do put it on my monitor. And so it's in front of me, so that on a daily basis, I'm seeing it and I'm going, oh yeah, I didn't use it this last time. And so it reminds me that the next time, oh yep, when I go to do that, I want to use that hack. All right, Jan, back to you.
Awesome. Nancy, you rock. You're such a good trainer. I just have a couple quick slides, then we're going to open it to Q&A. So feel free, and we don't have a particular topic today. So you guys are welcome, shortcut hacks around Outlook or just around 365 questions around that. So a lot of times people who pop into our webinar think all we do is help you learn how to use the technology within 365, but we do a lot more than that. We definitely approach our work from a process improvement lens. Our goal is really to eliminate waste in the organization. So we really look at the way your work flows, and if technology can help improve that, then that's a solution we're going to recommend. We also do a lot of, I do a lot of one-on-one coaching, Nancy as well. We do a lot of training and on all topics related to productivity, Microsoft 365, and anything around being an effective leader. Hot topics this year, anything around 365, and how project management concepts for the everyday leader has been a big topic for us, and how to run an effective meeting. Those are the big ones. So. And on that note, just a reminder, and Nancy's going to enter into chat again. If you enjoyed this session, you want to sign up for the webinar in January. It's going to be in case of emergency, how to leverage 365. There's some links in the chat for you to do that. And then we're going to go ahead and open up for Q&A. So feel free to unmute yourself and ask questions, or you can enter it into chat. But Nancy, you got some good kudos, lots of great hacks people didn't know about. So that's great. So what questions do you have?
Nothing, quiet group.
I have a question about when you pop the calendar open in another window, so you can have it side by side. If you get distracted and you have many things open and you go back to where the mail calendar was, or the mail section, and you go into the calendar that way, so you have a window open of a calendar and then you're doing the calendar. Does it sync, or does it not like when you do that?
It's the same calendar, but what you're going to get is, so in your taskbar, if you were to hover over your Outlook icon and you see that you have two windows open, they're both going to show that they're the calendar.
So if I update one, it automatically updates the other one. It doesn't.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. It's the same calendar.
Perfect. Now, if I'm managing someone else's calendar and I do that, it will also sync, hopefully?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So now that's one, and I'm trying to think if in the Outlook one that we did, if you're managing someone else's calendar, when you pop your calendar out, Donica, you may want to have it in overlay mode, so that you see your calendar and their calendar.
I think I know what you mean.
Give me a second. I want to just get out of my Outlook and open the demo Outlook, and I'll pop it over on the screen.
Thank you.
That's one thing I did not do before the session started. Okay, come on, come with me.
While Nancy's pulling it up, feel free again to ask any questions in chat, or get ready to ask your question verbally. Oh, good. Jessica likes overlay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Are you seeing my calendar? I think I just, or no.
No, we're still seeing PowerPoint, Nancy.
Okay. I didn't remember what I shared.
Mhm.
New share screen one. How about now?
Yes.
Calendar. Yay. Okay, so this is my calendar, and if I want to open this calendar, it typically puts them just side by side. But if I click on this little arrow right here, I then get what's called overlay mode. So that if the person that was behind there, here we go, I've got something with something on it. I see the different colors. So info's color is that peaches, and Nancy's is green. And whichever one that I click on up here, it'll make that bold and in front. So if I had something on the trainer calendar, it would show up there, but that's the overlay mode. And so if I come down here and right click and I open, so let's put that on one side and let's put calendar on the other side. And so now I can see my calendar, in your case, Donica, your boss's calendar. You can see them both side by side, as well as you can go ahead and see the email.
Perfect. That makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll just leave this up. Anybody else have questions about Outlook while I'm in here? And I'll just stay in Outlook. Doesn't have to be Outlook.
Yep, can be anything with
Categories.
365.
Do you have any quick hacks using categories? So, well, one of the things when you have, so let me go ahead and pin my ribbon back open. When you are creating quick steps, so if you use a particular category all the time, one of your quick steps that you can do is categorize. Now this one says categorize and move. So if you don't want to move it any place, you just want to categorize it in your inbox, then you might not want to use that particular one. So we're going to do a new one and a custom one. And then we're going to say categorize a message. And then choose a particular category.
I don't think she was asking about quick steps, just categories in general. So do you have any quick hacks using categories?
Well, this was one of them.
Oh, sorry.
This is a hack. This is a hack using quick steps, which is a quick hack for categories. The other thing with categories that a lot of people don't know is that a lot of people will right click on the message and then go to categories and then see the category list, or come up here and click on categories and see the category list. But if you go directly to the category column and you have that shown, if you right click, it brings the list right up. So you don't have to go multiple places. You're already on the email. And so this is also one of the reasons that I like my categories in front, because we read left to right. So I read the message right. And I typically, in my view, I have my reading pane on to the right-hand side. So I'm reading my message and I go, oh, yep, that needs to be a one-on-one meeting. And boom, I categorize it. The other thing with categories that are quick hacks is that I sort my inbox. This isn't my inbox. This is my demo one, right? But I sort my inbox by categories so that I can quickly see how many do I have in whatever those different categories are. All your new ones come still in up here because they're not categorized. So they come in, they just like your emails normally do, all your new ones are going to show up here. But once I've categorized it, I've moved it out of my way of seeing the new ones, and I can quickly right click and collapse all my groups to see all my categories and how many messages I've shoved in that category.
So Donica's asking, have we done a webinar on inbox management? Not specifically a webinar, but Nancy and I train on email management all the time. We kind of joke that we're training a lot on the new technology and then still training a lot on email that's been around for 25 plus years. Equally important training. So, but that's good feedback. Maybe we can add that to the list of webinars.
So Mary said, the quick step of mark, read, and move, is there a way to set it up without designating a folder? No. You do need to set up a folder. So if you have a handful of folders that you're always filing into, that is where I recommend that you use your favorites. So that if this red folder right here, I mean, these were just, again, this is my test database. If this was something I'm filing in all the time, but I don't necessarily want to set up a quick step for it, I would want to go ahead and I would want to show this, add this to my favorites, so that once I took that message in my inbox, let me come back down here. Once I took that message in my inbox, and if it was really categorize it and then file it away, is I would just, okay, I put it in the category, but really I want it filed over here into this folder and then drag it over there. That is the quick. So if you have a handful that you're filing all the time, I absolutely recommend putting them in favorites, and you can clear out. So if you don't want your drafts or your sent or your for follow-up up here, you can go ahead and remove those by right clicking and going ahead and removing those from favorites. But typically when we're filing, there's only a handful. If you have 52 folders, it's not any quicker, to tell you the truth, to set up a quick step to file in 52 folders than it is to move them over to the folders, because now you have to open this up and you have to scroll through 52 quick steps to try to find that particular folder. So
all right,
that helps.
we are at the quarter of the hour, so we're going to go ahead and wrap up. But thanks, everybody. If you're interested, please sign up for our newsletter so you get updates on when we have future webinars. But thanks for being here. Have a wonderful holiday.